Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Low Def Media, and here we like to talk about content creation and the gear that goes along with it. Every now and then we branch off and we might talk about tech or a little bit of fitness. But hey, today what I want to talk about is the never-ending search for the perfect camera. Does it exist? Will it ever exist? Let's get into it. So today we're talking about the perfect camera, and if you've been around the camera space long enough, you know that it doesn't exist. But if it did exist, what would it look like? Now, I've spent a lot of time searching for camera gear that I think will help me in my content creation. To coin a phrase that you hear on YouTube a lot, to level up my content creation. And you know, I've amassed quite a few cameras in that pursuit, and a lot of gear, you know, like wireless microphones and lights and tripods and things. Always searching for that thing that is going to really take me from where I am to where I want to be. And here's the crazy part. What I have found is it's not the camera. I started off with a DSLR camera, and at the time that was probably the pinnacle of a vlogging setup. The content creators at the time were using a Canon DSLR that had the flip out screen, that had 1080p, mic jacks, it had in-body, well, it was electronic stabilization, but it had all the things internally and the form factor externally that content creators are using to make their content. And I figured, well, if that's what they're using, then that's what I should use. And so I got it. And what I quickly realized is that a DSLR camera is large. And so trying to take it with you wherever you want to go is cumbersome and challenging. So I started incorporating smaller cameras, things like point and shoots and action cameras like a GoPro. And while those became more convenient to carry with me and even more convenient to use, I mean, you just point them in the direction you want to shoot and you press the shutter button and off you go. Even though they were that simple and the image quality was good, I found that it didn't have all the things that I needed. What I really wanted was, you know, that nice depth of field, a little bit of blurriness in the background, or the ability to change the focal length. Field of view was kind of locked in on an action camera, and it's usually always wide. Even if you pare it down into like a linear mode or de-warp in some cases, it's still pretty wide. So then the point and shoot cameras, now they have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to your focal length, focal distance, field of view. You can change some of the settings internally. So that became, that really was the closest to being the perfect vlogging camera. But what I found, a lot of the point and shoot cameras don't have in-body stabilization. They have electronic stabilization, just like the camera I'm using here, the Nikon Z30. Not a point and shoot, but still very similar. And so you could take it outside, you could change some of the settings, and you could dial in your exposure, dial in your aperture and your white balance and frame rates and do all the things. But then when you started walking, in the background, you would get some wonky stuff because it's trying to digitally fix the stabilization. And so sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And so action cameras and point and shoots, they kind of had the same issue when it came to the stabilization. Now, some of the action cameras are really good with stabilization, but then they lack, you know, your depth of field and your field of view. And so they become kind of restricted in that area. So you progress and you say, okay, well, what's a good hybrid of both? And a mirrorless camera, smaller than a DSLR, image is good. Image is much better than well, not much, but can be much better than a DSLR, and the stabilization can be very similar to an action camera. Case in point, the Sony a6700 has great 5 axis image stabilization, has great image quality, but it's big. So are the lenses. And Fujifilm, I've got the XS10, which also has the in-body stabilization. It's also big and it's heavy, just like the A6700. So even though the quality is probably the best you'll get and the image stabilization is also very, very good, probably the best you'll get, it's just not one of those things that's convenient to carry around. So I think what I've come up with is this. There is no singular perfect camera, but there might be a perfect camera kit for your content creation. And no, I didn't forget about the DJI Osmo Pocket. A lot of people love that camera. It's got the stabilization, it's got the image quality, it's got a small form factor, but it's just not very durable. You can't just throw that thing in a bag, and so it's not like a standard camera like this one. I put a lens cover on it and I can throw it in a bag, and I'm fairly confident that nothing's going to happen to it as long as it's in a bag. But you can't do that with the DJI Pocket. You got to make sure you have the case with it, and so then that means you've got to take it out of the case every time you want to use it. And I've just found, I've got the Pocket 1 and the Pocket 2, and I've just found that using a gimbal style camera comes with its own set of issues and challenges, because just because you face it in a singular direction to record, it's got a gimbal and it's either gonna be down, up, might turn side to side, may not stay focused on what you want it. I like a fixed lens camera that when I point it in a singular direction, I know that whatever's in that direction, I'm gonna be able to get a picture or a video of. So for me, it's just easier. So I think it comes down to having a kit. Find the one camera that's going to provide the best image, so that you can add that part to your content creation. Then find something that's going to be convenient enough to take with you everywhere, that's durable. And then maybe take one that's like a unique camera, like a 360 camera, so you can add some of that B-roll to the high quality image that you've got coming from your standard camera, and then that vlogging style camera that you've got for maybe a point and shoot or an action camera. But that's what I've come up with in the last, I would say about 10 years of content creation, is that you just can't rely on one camera to do it all. And mixed in there is your phone, which is so good these days, whether you've got an Android or an iPhone. So good, but not what I would use primarily for my content. It would be something that I sprinkle in along with those other cameras. But hey, like I said, this is Load F Media, where we like talking about content creation and the gear that goes along with it. And hey, if you like talking about or listening to or chiming in to content creation gear, do me a favor, become a subscriber and drop a comment below. And if you got value out of this particular video, hey, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, helps out the channel, really appreciate that. And you never know, scroll through some of the other videos, you might find one that you missed and that you might actually like. But hey, I'm me, you are you, appreciate you taking the time, and we will see you in the next one.